Alrighty, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Season 5, Episode 29 of Hit the Books, the podcast all about sports betting, the best bets you should be taking in everything surrounding sports, the sweets. This week we have the March. This week we are deep into March Madness. The Sweet 16 is officially here. Lots to look forward to as we get to that here this weekend. MLB opening day has arrived. Our Pirates and Mackey's Mets here are playing in this starting series, so lots to look forward to as we gear up for that season. The NHL playoffs are right around the corner, so we want to look into that as well here this week. But first, let's introduce my co-hosts with me here this week, Huff and Mackey. Mackey, why don't you start us off? What do you got for us?
Yeah, some technical difficulties there, but we're all back and ready to go. Um, yeah, I think it was a great round of 64, round of 32. Not the upsets that we wanted to see, but with this new NIL era, back-to-back years, we haven't been seeing much. We saw Florida out in the first weekend, so that's enough upset, in my opinion, as you need. So, but yeah, Johnny's move on to the second round. We get a nice matchup there. We got some nice matchups in the South as well. So just looking forward to the second weekend of college basketball.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Lots to look forward to here this weekend. March Madness going to be the big topic here on our episode. But Huff, what do you got for us here before we get to this weekend?
Yeah, like Mackie said, it was a great start to the tournament. We didn't get a ton of the upsets, not many at all, but I mean, here I have the upsets are good and bad. They're fun in the moment, but then you get High Point and playing Arkansas in the second round. You could have saw Arkansas versus Wisconsin there, seeing that you miss out on a good game. If you want to see these small teams in it, I mean, you got to be willing to sacrifice. I'd rather the games at the end of the tournament be the big teams, the teams that we want to see there. I want to crown the right national champion. That's the job of March Madness, is to crown a national champion, not to get these Cinderellas in. And especially like Mackie said, with the era NIL, it's a little bit different now. But your pesky 9 seed Iowa Hawkeyes and your 11 seed Texas Longhorns are your Cinderella teams that everyone's rooting for this year. So that's just the era that we're in with college basketball. But other than that, I mean, you still got 3 of your 1 seeds. A lot of the top dogs are still in it. We have a great list of matchups coming up for the Sweet 16. Arguably one of the best that I can remember in recent history.
Heck yeah, boys. Definitely a great weekend ahead here. We definitely had a great round of 64, round of 32. But let's jump over to the MLB real quick. Let's start over here. The 2026 MLB opening day has arrived with most teams getting underway Thursday. We do have Yankees and Giants tonight to kick things off. Our Pirates and Mackey's Mets will be the first game on opening day. With that being said, let's go through the odds and our preseason picks for the division winners here in the MLB. I'm pulling those up now. American League East. Let's start there. Yankees leading the board there at plus 180. Blue Jays at plus 260. Red Sox at plus 300. Orioles at plus 425. What are your guys' thoughts here for the AL East?
Yeah, Yankees dealing with a lot of injuries coming back. Obviously, it's still a pretty similar lineup to what they had last year, but guys like Garrett Cole are going to be coming back around the June-July mark. At 34 years old, off of a Tommy Johns. You don't know what you're going to get out of him, but it's a Yankees team that I feel like you know what you're going to get with this team. They're always going to be there in the picture. The one, and I don't really hate to say it, they're a fun team. Is I think there's some value on Aces Red Sox down there at 3-1. I like the pitching. I like the moves they made, bringing in Sonny Gray. Who Ranger Suarez? See the other one they got, Mackie? No, I don't think you can hear me. Ranger Suarez? Yeah, okay. So they get Ranger Suarez, Sonny Gray. I mean, there's definitely value on the Red Sox, but my official pick would be the Yankees at plus 180.
Yeah, Huff, I actually agree with you on this. I think the Red Sox at plus 300 is great value. I mean, I'm not going to say the Yankees aren't going to win it, but in a division that's so tight and the Blue Jays coming off of a World Series appearance, I don't see value in taking the plus 180. I think there is good value in the Blue Jays as well. But Red Sox at plus 300, they could be the best team in this division, definitely. So if you can get odds like that for the Red Sox here, I think that's where the value is for sure. Don't tell Ace that though.
Alrighty, keeping it moving here. The AL Central we have up here next. The Tigers leading the board there at plus 110. The Royals at plus 225. The Guardians at plus 425. Twins at plus 900. And the White Sox at plus 3,000. What are our thoughts on this one?
This one I'd probably say Detroit. It's theirs to lose. Only they bring in guys like Framber Valdez. I just almost try to swap the first letters of each name there, but obviously another year with Scooble. He leaves the World Baseball Classic because he doesn't want to play in meaningless baseball games, and then he goes home for spring training. So you got to hope this Tigers team's got something to play for this year. I do think they win that weak division. Is there value on Kansas City at plus 225? I mean, I do like that Kansas City team, but as far as winning the division, I'd stick with Detroit at plus 110.
Yeah, pretty good value for Detroit when they're clear front runners here. I would say the same thing. I don't really have much to say about this division.
Alrighty, and finally, let's go head over to the AL West here. The Mariners leading the board there, favored at minus 105. Astros at plus 275. The Rangers at plus 340. Athletics and Angels here, plus 1,300 and 4,000 respectively. What do we think about the AL West?
Yeah, I hate to stay chalk, but the Mariners are, I mean, touted to be one of the best teams in baseball this year, arguably the best team in the American League. A lot of people are picking them. They could have got there last year. They came up short against those Toronto Blue Jays, who ended up, moving on to the World Series, eventually losing in that World Series to LA. But I hate to stay chalk, but I'm going with Seattle minus 105. I think they're the best roster in this division. The Astros losing Fromber. I guess Hunter Brown, another year with him. He's now the ace down there in Houston, but I'm going to stick with the Mariners, minus 105. I hate to keep giving away the chalk picks. I just don't think there's value in Houston here.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of money coming on Houston because Houston is Houston, but you got to go with the Mariners here. I don't think the Rangers, coming off a really bad year after a World Series, but I think you got to go with the Mariners here. They have all the star power. They have the pitching. The pitching staff is great as well. So when it comes down to it, if they need some outs, they can get them. Yeah, like you said, chalk is chalk, but minus 105. I mean, you're not taking like a minus 600. You're not saying the Dodgers here. I mean, still great odds for them to win the division. I think they're the clear front runners as well.
Alrighty, boys. Heading over to the National League here. The NL East here. The Mets leading the board here at plus 135. The Phillies at plus 180. The Braves at plus 250. The Mariners at plus 4,000. The Nationals at plus 10,000. Mackie, what are your thoughts about your Mets here?
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised to see them sitting at plus 135 in first. Tough division. I wouldn't say I would bet on them, but they could definitely very well win this division, especially if Nolan McLean plays the way that he's supposed to. We've been looking for that ace for a little while, and towards the second half of last season, he was pretty much unstoppable. So, obviously, still a rookie this year. He's in the Rookie of the Year voting. So, but if we can get a lot out of him, then I think that we have a great chance winning this division. But obviously, Phillies, Braves, they have so much star power that you can't really count them out.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I don't know if I like the price at the Mets. I like the Mets to win the division, but I like the value on the Braves. It's plus 250. Those three teams right there, always in that picture right at the end. This is a division that's always up for it come late September. And getting the Braves plus 250, getting another a healthy Chris Sale, getting Chris or Spencer Strider back, Ronald Acuna healthy. They did lose guys like Azuna to my Pirates, but I just always have a soft spot in my heart for this Braves team, and I think with Acuna back, some of their other pieces, Matt Olson, I'm a big fan of his. I think you could definitely see them in this picture at the end of the season. But if I had to make a pick, it'd be the Mets, but I love the price on the Braves. So if I had to bet one, it would be Atlanta.
Alrighty, moving over to the NL Central here. The Cubs leading the pack here at plus 110. The Brewers at plus 240, the Reds at plus 500, the Pirates at plus 600, and the Cardinals. Alrighty, and we're back here after some more technical difficulties here. But Huff, what do you think is happening here in the NL Central?
Yeah, NL Central, obviously, our Pittsburgh Pirates are a hot pick. Not necessarily to win the division. They are the most popular pick to make the playoffs out of all MLB teams. There's a lot of money coming in on these Pirates to make the playoffs. A lot of people buying into another year with Paul Skeens hype. Obviously, the free agent additions that we made with Marcell Ozuna, Ryan O'Hearn, bringing in Brandon Lowe via trade. But the pick to win this division is going to be the Chicago Cubs. They are the best roster. But there's value on those Brewers. They're always there at the end, but the Cubs are the best roster here. I will be taking the Pirates to make the playoffs, but not win this division. Plus 600. Do you get in while it's a good price? I mean, look at it if you want to look at it that way, but I think the Cubs win this division.
Going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see how the Pirates do, but definitely going to be a good year. All right, the NL West, our final division here. Dodgers leading the pack here, minus 700. The Padres at plus 800. Giants at plus 1,800. Diamondbacks at plus 2,000. Rockies at plus 40,000.
Huff, what do you think? You don't even need to go past the Dodgers. There's no reason to. If Dodgers minus 700, put it in every parlay, they will win this division.
Alrighty, lots of good stuff out of the MLB. Let's shift our focus over to March Madness here. The Sweet 16 is officially set, getting underway Thursday and Friday night. We'll start in the East, where we saw St. John hit the first true game-winning buzzer beater of the tournament to take down number 4 Kansas. Iowa State handled business against Kentucky. Tennessee takes down number 3 Virginia, and the number 9 Iowa Hawkeyes take down the number 1 Florida in the first for our first number 1 seed to fall after a game-winning shot from Alvaro. I don't know how to say his last name. I heard it.
Oh,
10
yeah,
times.
I don't know how to say it either, but he's a Robert Morris Colonial transfer to Iowa,
Yes.
so I thought that was cool.
Heck yeah. Nebraska advancing their first Sweet 16 in program history, and many more. Who impressed you so far this tournament, Huff, that you didn't expect coming into last week?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple of the teams that not a lot of people expected things from. Texas, obviously a play-in team. We've had the past couple of years where you get a play-in team, finding themselves into this second weekend. Texas is going to be, like I said, that pesky Cinderella team that everyone saw or no one saw coming. But you get an SEC team in there as an 11 seed. They're gonna. They didn't have the hardest path either. They get Gonzaga in the second round. They get Purdue here. Could they find themselves in the Elite Eight? I think if Mackey was here, he'd be vouching for these Longhorns. He makes fun of me when I bet him in football. I don't know why he's allowed to back him in basketball, and it's not a problem. But a couple of the other teams, you could look at, Iowa State, what they did without Joshua Johnson there in that second round, Alabama, all the issues going on around that team off the court. But yeah, it's been a great tournament so far. I'm excited to get into some of these Elite Eight games or Sweet 16 games. Sorry.
Heck yeah. And with that, let's get started here. Texas and Purdue is going to be our first matchup here, which is going to be Thursday, 7:10 p.m. Purdue is the favorite here, 7.5 points for them. Their money line at -350. Texas at +275. The total at 148.5. Huff, what do you think happens here?
Yeah, I think Mackey's going to be on these Longhorns again, +7.5. I love Sean Miller, but I've been big on this Purdue team all year. I'm going to stick with them here. I think they will handle business and cover that number at 7.5. I like this Boilermakers team led by Matt Painter, and the veteran core around him. Fletcher Lawyer, Oscar Clough, Braden Smith. I think this Purdue team's gearing up for another Elite Eight / Final Four appearance. I'm going to say Elite Eight because they run into a buzzsaw with no matter who they get on the other side for the Elite Eight. But give me Purdue -7.5. I think me and Mackey are going to be on opposite sides of this one.
Heck yeah, Heck yeah, that's going to be a good first matchup there. Definitely stay tuned on Instagram and Twitter for all our picks here in March Madness. The boys are hot. Everything's looking pretty good. But let's keep going here. Iowa and Nebraska here, 7:30. Nebraska's the favorite here. 1.5 points for them. Their money line at -130. Iowa at +110. The total sitting at 132.5. What do you think about this one, Huff?
You'll like this stat. Most corn per square mile ever in a March Madness game right here. Nebraska versus Iowa. It's the battle of the cornfields. Give me the Iowa Hawkeyes. They're the hot team. They just took down Florida. I've picked against Nebraska twice. I had Vandy. Mackey had Troy. I was not on that one. I did pick Nebraska there, but I had Vandy taking them down. That buzzer beater, I needed that to fall there for a perfect day. I think that was Saturday. I'm going to go with Iowa Hawkeyes on the money line +110. They get the win outright.
Very nice, very nice. Next matchup here, 9:45 p.m. here on Thursday. Arkansas and number 1 Arizona. Arizona's the favorite here, 7.5 points for them. Their money line -350. Arkansas +275. The total 166.5. What happens in this one, Huff? West region.
This is a very tough game because I think either Arizona kills them and covers this number or Arkansas wins a game outright. So I don't see much value in Arkansas +7.5. I don't see much value in Arizona on the money line. I'm on the Arkansas Razorbacks here. I'm trying to get Coach Cal to another Final Four. He's 2 years removed from that Kentucky breakup. He's been to 2 straight Sweet 16s. Staring down another Elite Eight with a win against Arizona here would be massive. Darius Acuff Jr., the best player on the floor, is going to be wearing an Arkansas jersey. So I think Arkansas pulls it out. Sorry, but I do have Arkansas in my bracket. I'm a Coach Cal guy. I might be a little biased here, but I'm going to go with Arkansas. I guess I'd say money line, but I always say if they're giving me points, take the points. I'd say Arkansas +7.5 for an official pick, but I think Arkansas wins the game. Take that for what it's worth.
All right. Moving forward here, Illinois and Houston, the final game here on Thursday, 10:05 p.m. Houston is the favorite here, 2.5 points for them. Their money line at -160. Illinois at +135. The total at 139.5. Huff, what do you think about this one here? 2 versus 3 in the South.
Yeah, this one I'm very excited for. Houston is my national champion pick. They looked absolutely dominant in their first 2 performances. They got Idaho in the first round. Obviously, I think that was like a 24.5 point spread. I did have Houston there. You got to take Houston in the first round. Then they end up handling business against an in-state rival, I guess you could say, with Texas A&M, beating them by 30. Houston's rolling. I would not want to play this team right now. Illinois, led by Stojakovic, the former Cal Golden Bear, is coming in here with a TJ Otzelberger-led team. Give me Houston minus the 2.5 here. This is my favorite play of the day. I will be on the Houston Cougars minus the 2.5.
All right, not too shabby here. Moving on to Friday, we have St. John's and number 1 Duke here going at it, 7:10 p.m. The first game on Friday. Duke is the favorite here, 6.5 points for them. Their money line at -285. St. John's at +230. The total sitting at 141.5. Huff, what do you think about this one here? Number 1 Duke in the East.
Yeah, I'm not big on Duke. Obviously, they've looked, how they've looked against TCU, but we saw them in that first game against Siena. St. John's has looked like a great team so far. being tested last round against a tough Kansas team. But I'm going to go with St. John's here, plus the 6.5. Give me the points. I think the Johnnies keep it close, could even win the game outright.
All righty, keeping it moving here. 7:35 p.m. on Friday. Alabama and number 1 Michigan here in the Midwest. Michigan the favorite here, 9.5 points for them, the biggest spread of this Sweet 16. So their money line at minus 475. Alabama at plus 350. The total sitting at 172.5. I believe that's also the highest total. Yep. And Huff, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I like Michigan minus 9.5. I know I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think Michigan's actually going to be able to shut down this Alabama offense. I think Michigan, anytime they're good, I feel like they go on a deep run. I think they handle business easily here. Michigan by 9.5.
All righty, keeping it moving here on Friday, 9:45 p.m. Michigan State and UConn here in the East. UConn is the favorite here, just 1.5 points for them. Their money line at minus 130. Michigan State at plus 110. The total at 134.5. What are you thinking about this second to last game here on Friday, Huff?
This one I'm torn on. I've always been a Michigan State guy in basketball. Love Coach Tom Izzo there. But I do think UConn wins this game. I have Michigan State moving on in my bracket, but I think UConn minus the 130 on the money line. Dan Hurley, the way he has this team going right now, they looked like they were on a mission, treating that UCLA game as like a national championship, shutting down a UCLA team that I had high expectations for coming into this tournament. I know a lot of people, if you're just looking at the outside news and, the Mick Cronin interviews, you would have thought UCLA was one of the worst teams in basketball this year, but UConn shut them down in the round of 32. I think UConn moves on, but my heart rides true with Tom Izzo.
Lots of good stuff there. Let's jump into our final game of the Sweet 16 here. In the Midwest, we have Tennessee and Iowa State, 10:10 p.m. on Friday. Iowa State's the favorite here, 3.5 points for them. Their money line at minus 190. Tennessee at plus 154. The total at 138.5 for this matchup. Huff, what do you think about this one?
This is a tough one here. I don't know what the injury situation is with Iowa State's Joshua Johnson here, but Iowa State looked great in that second round. I think they will handle business here, minus the 3.5. I like this Tennessee team. They took down UVA in that second round. This is a matchup I had in my bracket. I have Iowa State moving on. I will be betting it that way. I like Iowa State minus the 3.5. I think they handle business. Like I said last week before the tournament started, I think that region, I believe it is the Midwest, correct, with Iowa State? Are you looking at his bracket?
Yes.
Yeah, Midwest. That Midwest region, I thought it was a crash course for us to get Iowa State versus Michigan, and I think that's exactly what we're going to get.
All righty, definitely going to be a great round of 16 here, Sweet 16. Lots to look forward to as we gear through this here this weekend and get into the Elite Eight.
Yeah, hold on. I'm pulling up our record here. I want to see where we ended up on the weekend. Let me see
Good
here. Year to date, we are 43-31, or 43 and 31 on the season, plus 10.28 units. That would be a $10 better is up $128. The $100 better up $1,028. You do the math. You figure out what you're up. We're winning you picks on basketball. All you got to do is tail, like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you got. We appreciate it. You got more of those picks coming your way tomorrow for the Sweet 16.
Heck yeah, lots of good stuff there. One more point here in the college basketball world. In other news, away from the tournament, with tournament wins comes tournament losses. Hubert Davis in North Carolina's loss to VCU seems to have been the final straw as UNC has fired former head coach Hubert Davis, making the Tar Heels one of the most attractive coaching jobs in America. Do you think this is the right move for UNC, Huff? And do you see any big names popping up shortly?
I do think this is the right move. Will they get the guy they're hoping for? It's UNC that, it's like a blue blood job. A lot of people you got to think want this job, but the guy that's name's been thrown around there, Ben McCullum of those Iowa Hawkeyes. There's a couple other big names where, people love to say you got to make them say no because it's the world of college sports. You put a blank check in front of a lot of guys, and you'd be surprised to see who would want this job. A lot of guys people are saying NBA guys. Billy Donovan's name always gets thrown in the mix here, but I like North Carolina basketball. I like basketball. College basketball is better when North Carolina is good. I hope they figure this out and get the right guy if they're hire this year.
Heck yeah, definitely some interesting stuff coming out of the college basketball world. March Madness barreling through, so lots to look forward to as we get closer to the end of that. Let's jump over to the NHL here. We're going to check out the 2026 playoffs are right around the corner, and the playoff race is heating up in the Eastern Conference. Let's take a look at the current standings and what these bubble teams have ahead of them to see who we think is going to be in the playoff here this year. Real quickly, in the Western Conference's Central Division, pretty locked up. The Avs have secured their spot. The Stars have secured their spot, and the Wild not far behind them. Probably just a couple of days here before we see that happening. The Pacific Division, though, doing along the worst of any division in the NHL here this year, but we will get to that here in the Eastern Conference, where the matchups are much more fun to watch. The Atlantic Division, two teams here, Buffalo Sabres and the Tampa Bay Lightning here sitting at the first and second place there in the division, 95 and 93 points respectively.
Insane
Sabres
that Buffalo is a 1 seed.
Right, and makes no sense. And the Canadians there right behind them, but in the similar position of how the Penguins and the Blue Jackets are of, the Bruins right behind them to possibly take a spot from them, but they do have a game on the Bruins, or the Bruins have a game on them. So, what are your thoughts here in the East, Huff?
Yeah, obviously Penguins tough loss. They let Columbus catch them. Columbus now sits in that 2 spot in the Metro. Penguins sitting there in that 3 with 86 points. Columbus with 87. We've had some tough matchups with those Carolina Hurricanes. And if you look at the Hurricanes schedule at this point, Penguins fans are going to have to be rooting for those Carolina Hurricanes. They have matchups coming up on Tuesday in Columbus. They have other games, a back-to-back against Columbus. Then they go home, host those New York Islanders who are on our tails. There's other teams in this mix. They believe they get, the Islanders twice and the Blue Jackets twice, all before the end of the season. So we're not going to catch the Carolina Hurricanes. We are Carolina Hurricanes fans the rest of this regular season. We need them to go 2-0 against Columbus, go 2-0 against the Islanders, knock both of them out. Penguins need to do their job, though. They have a tough little bit of a stretch coming up here. Ottawa, who's in that same playoff hunt, they're trying to get in. They're one of those teams that's hungry for a wild card spot. We got Dallas coming to town on Saturday. They're one of the best teams in the NHL. Those Islanders are right behind us. Obviously, we have a tough 3 games here. We get Detroit, another team like Ottawa, right in that mix. You can't count them out. The month of April gets a little bit easier. We get a little bit of the Florida teams with Tampa Bay, Florida, both of those games being home. The last 4 games are relatively easy. 2 games against the Capitals. You got to think the Penguins, those are rivalry games. We'll probably drop one of those if you can get a loser point. Loser points down the stretch are going to be big. Penguins have been the best team at getting them so far this year, other than the LA Kings. I'm going to think the Penguins will end up in a spot.
Yeah, really hope the Penguins end up in the spot here. The race is tight, fun to watch for sure.
Columbus does not have an easy schedule either. I mean,
no.
I'm not sold on Columbus. The Islanders are the one. I think it's going to be us in the 2 seed, the Islanders in the 3 seed. I think Columbus falls out. Columbus's next games are against, let's see here, in Montreal, home against San Jose. That's probably a win, say 1-1. Home against the Bruins, that's probably a win. It could be a loss. I don't know. That's a tough one. Carolina, we need those to be 2 losses. Winnipeg, Detroit, Buffalo, number 1 seed. Whoever thought you'd see that. Montreal, Boston, Capitals. Like, I don't think the Blue Jackets end up in. They're not my favorite of those 3 teams. I don't think they end up in.
Yeah, you got to think the Islanders make a good push here, especially to try to get in.
I'd love it to be Penguins get home ice against the Blue Jackets, personally.
That'd be great.
That'd be my ideal first round matchup. We host the Blue Jackets.
Right. I agree. Anything out of the West, Huff? Any thoughts out of the West?
Not much. Like you said, the one division's kind of boring. Obviously, we get Colorado and Dallas. They're battling it out.
They're both boring in their own way.
Huh?
They're both boring in their own way.
Yeah, exactly. They're in different scenarios. The one is top heavy. The one is just kind of getting in by default, getting 3 teams in by default. But I mean, they would be in, just not the way it's going to work out and get home ice. But that's the way the NHL wanted these divisional matchups in the playoffs and get some divisional rivalries going. But another one that's surprising, Anaheim still sitting at that 1 seed. Will they end there? Probably. They have 5 points on the Oilers. And the Oilers aren't nothing great either. So, but yeah, NHL playoffs are right around the corner.
Yep. Got like 6. I think the Penguins have like 6 more home games, 4 more home games, 5 more home games.
I think we have 11 games left.
Yeah. So definitely lots to look forward to as we gear down the stretch here for the NHL playoffs. like we said, the Sweet 16 here this weekend, MLB opening day happening, NHL playoffs right around the corner. Huff, anything else to add before we get out of here?
I think that's it. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure you're staying tuned for all those college basketball plays. HitTheBooks.pod on Instagram, HitTheBooks_pod on Twitter. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.